Stop spending thousands at high-end nurseries for that designer estate look. Most people think luxury curb appeal requires a massive budget, but I'm about to prove that your dream landscape is actually hiding in a dusty donation bin. Watch as I turn rusted $5 junk into breathtaking architectural anchors using nothing but thrifted finds and specific painting secrets that even the pros use to mimic expensive masonry. Today we're hunting for mismatched pots and weathered trellises that everyone else ignored. With a little faux patina magic and some clever masonry paint, we're transforming these thrift store rejects into high-end focal points that look like they cost a fortune at a boutique garden center. This $500 designer planter actually cost me $5 at a thrift shop. Most people walk past rusted wrought iron and cracked terracotta, but today I'm showing you how to use matte masonry paint and faux patina finishes to turn trash into high-end architectural anchors that give your home instant designer estate vibes. The first thing you have to unlearn is shopping for what something looks like right now. That is the trap that sends most people home empty-handed. What you are actually shopping for is silhouette, scale, and structural bone. Pick up a mismatched terracotta urn and rotate it in your hands. Point out that the color is wrong, the glaze is peeling, and it looks completely rough. Then explain that none of that matters because the shape is architectural and the scale is heavy and generous, exactly what a designer would reach for. Move to a rusted wrought iron piece and tap it, showing it's solid. Explain that real wrought iron has weight and imperfection to it, while cheap plastic imitations are light, hollow-sounding, and have a too-perfect sheen that no amount of paint can fix. Show both side by side so the viewer can train their eye. Then walk past a shelf of small decorative pieces and tell your viewer to ignore all of it. Small decorative clutter is the enemy of a designer-looking outdoor space. You want fewer pieces, bigger scale, stronger presence. One statement urn beats 10 little bird figurines every single time. Before any paint touches these pieces, we have to give it something to hold on to, because the #1 reason DIY outdoor paint jobs fail is skipping this step entirely. Show your bonding primer and explain that modern bonding primers are formulated to stick to slick, non-porous, and even slightly degraded surfaces, which is exactly what most thrifted pottery and ironwork is. Apply it in a thin, even coat and let the viewer see how it unifies the surface. While it dries, talk about color choice. Explain that the secret weapon of every luxury outdoor space is a deep, unified base. Charcoal, obsidian, slate, near black tones, because these colors erase the visual noise of mismatched materials and make everything read as intentional and expensive. Show your deep matte charcoal and obsidian masonry paints and explain why matte finish is non-negotiable. Any sheen reads as cheap outdoors. Pick up your high-density foam roller and demonstrate how rolling the paint on in tight, overlapping passes creates a surface texture that mimics the weight and depth of expensive cast stone or heavy iron. Tell your viewer, when your eye sees this texture from 10 feet away, it doesn't see painted thrift store pottery, it sees something that was poured and cast and has been sitting in someone's estate garden for 30 years. A flat black pot is a good start, but what turns it into something that makes people stop and ask where you got it is layering, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. Start with your bronze reactive paint and show how you apply it loosely over the dry base coat using a natural sea sponge, concentrating it in the recessed areas, the ridges, the curves, anywhere that would naturally collect oxidation over decades. Then bring in your sea salt spray while the bronze layer is still slightly tacky, explaining that the salt creates tiny unpredictable disruptions in the surface that look exactly like natural weathering. No two pieces will look the same, which is precisely the point. Mass-produced designer pieces are perfect, and that perfection is actually what gives them away. Move to your lime wash mixture next and show how sponging it on in thin, uneven layers gives terracotta and concrete pieces a centuries-old European feel, like they were pulled from a Provençal garden or a Tuscan estate. Explain the technique. Load your sponge lightly, dab more than you drag, and always work in sections so the layers build organically. Then pick up a dry brush loaded with a slightly lighter tone and show your distressing technique on the Ironwork hardware. Drag the brush along edges, raised surfaces, and bolt heads, anywhere that would catch light and show natural wear. Tell your viewer, real estate ironwork was handled by people, exposed to elements, moved and repaired over generations. You can see that history in it. This dry brush step is you faking that history and doing it convincingly. Section 4. Styling for maximum street presence. Finished pieces sitting in a garage are just finished pieces. What turns them into a designer outdoor space is placement, and placement is everything. Start with your largest architectural vessels and explain the odd number rule. Groups of 3 or 5 always read as more intentional and dynamic than pairs or even numbers, because the eye naturally triangulates between odd groupings and creates a visual rhythm. Show yourself arranging 3 pieces of varying heights into a cluster at the entryway focal point, adjusting until the composition feels balanced but not symmetrical. Then bring in your greenery and talk about contrast. Explain that dark architectural vessels need high contrast planting to pop. Think deep green tropical leaves, silvery gray ornamental grasses, or bold white flowers. Light against dark, soft texture against hard surface. Show the planting process and let the viewer see how immediately alive and intentional the whole composition becomes. Finally, bring in your reclaimed trellis or any vertical element you've sourced and show how positioning it behind or beside the cluster adds height and frames the existing architectural features of the home, the door, the window, the roofline. Tell your viewer, great landscape design always borrows from the architecture of the home itself. You're not decorating in front of the house, you're extending it. Section 5. The grand reveal and value comparison. Okay, this is the part I have been waiting to show you. Walk through the full transformation slowly. Show the before photos or footage of each piece as it was found, then pan to where it sits now in the finished space. Give the viewer time to feel the difference. Then go through your budget breakdown item by item, on screen as text while you narrate. The terracotta urns of the thrift store, the wrought iron piece, the bonding primer, the masonry paints, the reactive bronze, the lime wash, the sponges, the greenery, everything. Total it all up and show the final number. Then show what equivalent pieces from a luxury garden showroom or landscape supplier would have cost, sourcing real comparable examples if you can. Let that contrast do the talking. Close the video by addressing 2026 weather conditions specifically. Talk about UV-resistant topcoat sealers for summer sun, the importance of bringing porous pieces in before hard freezes, and how a seasonal touch-up with the same dry brush technique keeps everything looking fresh year after year. End with this. Luxury outdoor spaces are not built on big budgets. They're built on a trained eye, the right techniques, and the patience to see what something could be instead of what it is right now. You have all of that. Go find your pieces.
Everything you just watch me do cost less than a dinner out, and what you looking at right now it be something that would stop anyone in their tracks and make the genuinely wonder of designer put the together. That person is you push or just a beat, then shift into your call to action naturally. If you tried any these techniques, are you planning to drop it in the comment? I want to see what you find and what you make out of it. And if these give you a new way to looking and thrifted store shelf and rusty pieces of ironwork, share it with someone who needs to see it. Subscribe if you want to more this because we are just getting started.